everyone, it's Justine and welcome to episode 1 of Basic Stamping with the Misti. Now, if you've seen this video before, don't think that you're crazy because you have. I've redone the audio on my previous Misti series and added it to this new series in addition to new videos because I know there were some audio issues in the past, and so I wanted to remake these videos so that they still stay relevant. But don't worry, there's going to be a new video every day for this series as well, as long as with the old ones if you haven't seen them yet. So for this one, I just wanted to show the beauty of stamping a solid stamp with the Misti. Now, solid stamps are really difficult in the sense that they have a lot of negative space, a lot of space that needs ink. And I would say 99% of the time they don't stamp properly with one coat of ink. And with something like this background stamp, without being really complicated, it is really difficult to actually stamp this more than once on the same area. I don't want to use my grid paper here. So as you can see, I have a scrap piece of paper to protect my Misti. I want to kind of save my grid paper as much as I can. And I'm going to just simply stamp the background tool or stamp onto my card. So you want to push down. You don't want to push down too hard because you don't want any sort of cracking with your Misti. But you want to press hard enough so that it gets a good impression. And as you can see, there's a lot of faded areas. Now this stamp was a stamp that I previously just never used because of all the negative space on it and the fact that it's stamped exactly like you just saw it. But now with the Misti, my problems are over. My problems are solved, and you can see that I can stamp over and over again in the exact same spot. And I can actually darken up those areas that are fading. It really just gives a whole new revolution to your stamps, and it makes you fall in love with your stamps all over again, especially those ones where you've used in the past and they haven't worked out too well. So you can see just how awesome that's stamped. You can see there's a little bit of a white edge on the side, but that's not a big deal. That's just because I have it lined up against the edge of the Misti. If I wanted to move it towards the center, I wouldn't have had that problem. So I've cut down that stamp piece that we just had just so that it's a strip, and I can use the other pieces of that background as well for making duplicate cards if I'd like to. I'm going to take a card base that measures 11 by 4 1/4 inches. It's scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches to make a top folding card, and I'm using Simon Says Stamp black cardstock. I'm going to just fold that over, and then I'm going to put my card together. So now I'm just going to add my card front, my panel here. It measures 4 by 5 1/4 inches and it's Neenah Solar White cardstock. Just going to glue that onto my card front and then attach the little border piece that we created with our stamp. And I stamped this on a scrap piece of paper, so don't mind the flower there. So I'm just using some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive. I'm going to stick this on, and then I'm just going to continue doing some stamping and showing you another way to stamp without having the card placed in the corner and how you would deal with that as far as the Misti is concerned. So now I simply need to add my sentiment as well as another stamp I'm going to use to stamp on this card. And I'm going to grab my Misti tool now. And I'm going to place this actually in the corner for the sentiment. So this is not a problem because my stamp fits nicely there. And I can just go in with some black ink and stamp this just quite normally. Because this is a line stamp, you'll see the difference between having a negative space stamp like that background, how many times you have to stamp it over and over again to get a great impression. But you'll see that with something like a sentiment with thin lines, it's not really necessary to do that. You get a good impression the first time. But I wanted to add an Eiffel Tower, but I wanted to add my stamp so that it's not completely on the card. So it's not really possible to stick it in the corner because the stamp wouldn't fit. So I'm going to stick it in the middle here, and I'm going to add a magnet. So this magnet here comes with the Misti, usually depends on who you buy it from, and it's going to hold your card in place. I also make sure to put it in the corner of the lines so that I can line it up again if I need to. And you can see why I wasn't able to put it in the corner because the Eiffel Tower wouldn't fit and it wouldn't stamp properly. So I'm going to put it here at the top, attach my card, grab my Eiffel Tower and stick it partially onto my card. And then it's sticking out, as you can see. So right now, if you wanted to put some grid paper down to protect your area, you're more than welcome to. Or you can just simply wipe it clean when you're finished with your cleaner. And I'm just going to adjust my Eiffel Tower so that it's nice and straight, pick it up with my Misti, and then I'm going to ink it up with a lighter ink because I don't want it to distract from the sentiment, nor do I want it to distract from our little stamping panel that we did before. I just want it really light just to reinforce that French sentiment and reinforce it with an Eiffel Tower. So that's the end of today's card tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this background stamp. There's another new card tutorial out today as well, featuring background stamps and basic stamping. If you want to see the other card tutorial for today, I'll have it linked below in the description. If you missed yesterday's video on the introduction to the Misti, feel free to click on the screen now. You can also click to check out my blog and click the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.